Hello, my name is Tolk, and I exist, therefore I think too much. I am reading Marguerite Porete, The Mirror of Simple Souls, probably chapter 28 and 29. I did not do 7 days of work. I did 6, because maybe not that. I don't know how it's been going, because I'll make these one day, and then the next day I'll post them. Helps with anxiety. And I skipped the last day of making something, so I'm not sure where that puts me. Apologies for that. Call it a mental health day, though I'm not answering to anyone, so I don't know why exactly you need to know, other than, I guess, courtesy? There's that. So what did I say? Oh, I rant when I read. This is not a perfect read through, and I cuss as I talk. So if this is not your prerogative, go find it. Man, I keep losing which one I read. Okay, chapter 28. How the soul swims in the sea of joy. Oh, and it speaks it is written in a conversational style between primarily love and any other entity she comes up with. Marguerite comes up with. But also I've come to understand that a lot, I think, hopefully is lost in translation due to how certain things are said. Love speaks first. Such a soul, says love, swims in the sea of joy. Such a soul is... the soul being discussed is the annihilated soul, but such a soul is in response to a soul that has no will of their own, loves their lover, and has no desire. And the soul's lover is love, but I think it's like divine love, which is different from love. Boop 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 boop. So such a soul, says love, swims in the sea of joy, that is in the sea of delights, flowing and running out of the divinity, and so she feels no joy, for she is joy itself. This could be in relation to the rhetoric of a river joining the ocean. You don't follow the water. The water just becomes the other water source. So, given that it is joy flowing from one, it could just be feeding into that metaphor, but I'm not entirely sure if it is. She is joy itself by the virtue of joy, which transforms her into joy itself. She is many things. That is, she says, that she rejoices more in that which can be communicated to no one than what can be communicated. That seems like one of those, there's a word for it and I don't remember the word. To be far too 90s, more than I deserve, as I was born in 93. That's a duh moment. Very duh. Like, it's obvious. It's a very obvious answer, because you wouldn't be able to communicate if you cannot communicate. Don't know that it needed to be said. Oh, wait, no. Okay, I misread that. I'm pretty tired. I apologize. She enjoys more that which cannot be communicated, rather than that which can be. I just got stuck on the word communicated. I apologize for being an absolute twat and an idiot. Because the latter is mediocre. Whoa, Jesus. Okay, so that which can be communicated is mediocre. A lot of people that believe themselves to be intellects would say the same. If it's ineffable, it must be highly valuable. Maybe that adds into the trope of mysterious is what is good and best. But honestly, I think that's just a means of playing into, I'd rather not know, so don't tell me. And as long as you make it seem valuable in me not knowing, then all the better. Latter is mediocre. That which can be communicated is mediocre and only of the moment. And that which cannot be communicated is that which that which can be communicated is that which cannot be communicated is infinite and eternal. I think that deals primarily with understanding that a human's consciousness is where God is born from. Without humanity understanding God, then God would not exist. It carries the same sentiment. If you can discuss it, if you can understand it, then it must be finite. And if you cannot discuss it, and if you cannot understand it, then it cannot be consumed, and it must be infinite. I think it's a very limited way of thinking. In some respect, there is truth to that, but it speaks more to what the human ego understands it can own, rather than the subjectivity of value in and of itself. Now there is one common will, as fire and flame, as the will of the lover and the one who is loved, for love has transformed the soul into love herself. What is that one word? Legion. There's an existence, and it's a really fucking sad existence. It's called the Rat King, much like the Man of War, but a hell of a lot more handicapped. The Rat King is essentially a glob of rats who are all tied together by their tails being knotted together. And so kind of move as one entity, but are very much handicapped in what they're capable of doing because, yeah. I assume that's what Legion is. Legion is understood to be not only an entity unto itself, but made up of many different demons in the lore of demonology. And demons are attributes. Can be considered principalities if they own something or have leverage over an area or a group. But if you understand it through general Christian terms, then a demon can be an attribute, can own attributes or take advantage of attributes. So like a demon of lust or a demon of lies. And so if you have a legion, a multitude of demons in one entity, then you have multiple attributes in entity counted as one moving thing with presumably one will. And what she's describing seems to be like the balance to that, where it's all of these positive attributes, but all in one person. So it seems like the balance to Legion. Scientifically, everything created needs a balance to it, so why not? Okay, so now the soul has become love itself, which then denotes, because prior she has said that she took on the Trinity and therein is equivalent to the Godhead in that she is annihilated and God took over her body like a meat sack, promoting her to divinity, though it is not her, though it is her. And this has promoted her to love, which makes me feel like love has somehow become synonymous with God. And if God is infinite, as it has been described in this, then God is not simply love. Having spoken on Legion would have been an attempt to be God-like, because God is infinite. God is all attributes. God is all things. God is every creation and the creator. God is infinite, right? So, to describe God simply as love would probably be insulting. So soul speaks and says, very sweet, pure divine love, says this soul, how it is a sweet transformation by which I am transformed into the thing which I love better than myself. Love The soul loves love better than the soul loves itself. And throughout this, the humility is very self-deprecating. I think that's what a lot of people need to heal from. Humility is not necessarily deprecation, but or defeatism. Humility is owning where the fuck you are and not promoting yourself to what you cannot do because it is for someone else. Humility is proper understanding and respect for self. And too many people have understood humility to be humiliation. I need to go blow my nose. Hold on. So today, I am tangled in the cord. Started talking about how I believe that a founding principle that a lot of U.S. society is currently kind of running on is the idea that might is right. And I think that, it's an undercurrent. Even if it is not understood to be something you primarily act on in society, even on the side of where people believe themselves to be morally correct, no matter politically where you align yourself. And more often than not, it is in crowds that believe themselves to be following a morality that is better than others, where this sentiment is pursued, that those who are more powerful, more capable, whatever that may actually look like in your surrounding, in your circle, that means that it is deserved. And in deserving that power and that capacity to do things, that person thereafter properly utilizes that might. And I think that's a concept that ought to be done away with. Not only is it incredibly inconsiderate, but, really liking comics myself, maybe not necessarily liking the main superheroes as much, but there was a sentiment shared amongst the main superheroes, which was, one, absolute power corrupts absolutely, and two, people in positions of power have a responsibility. And it goes along with history where you have in certain societies, I've mentioned before, noblesse oblige, where you are in a position of power over others, and therein you do get, certain privileges that other people do not have, but in receiving these privileges, you are also in a position of, or necessitating observation of those that support the position you are in. And in this observation, there is also care that ought to be pursued once properly observed. So noblesse oblige would be caring for probably, the people on your property. If you are a lord, taking care of those that pay taxes, taking care of them so that they can take care of your land. Nobody gets to a position above others without first having others. You cannot be a king without people to rule over. And a sentiment that I would very much appreciate to live by, if I'm not perfectly living by it now. If you cannot take care of something, you do not deserve that thing. And thing is a generally applied term, liberally applied. But if you have something, someone, people's in your corner that you are in a higher position of, or whatever the fuck it is, if you cannot protect it, if you cannot take care of it, are you truly in a position of deserving it? And protection and care look different for the person that's capable of providing it, granted, And it'll look different per community, per person, whatever it is. But if you are not in a position to care, then are you in any position at all? So this sentiment of might is right is highly corrupt, and I do not condone. And the reason I bring it up is because of this idea that that the self ought to not exist. This grandiosity of humility in a system where power is perceived as innately deserved instead of a privilege in and of itself. It has side effects, like believing that humility is humiliation, that you did not deserve your ego. In order for someone to believe that they are above others, these others need to believe that they are below and beneath and undeserving. And so the masses understand at large these painful realities, which are reality only in a subjective term, not in an objective one. And so that results in this constant negation of self. It results in an unhealthy ideation of understanding oneself, where it is safe to understand oneself by an aesthetic appeal, but not by an intrinsic appeal. Any attributes of yourself are to be realized through other people understanding them rather than you pursuing them yourself. You should not know yourself more than others know you. And it's incredibly unhealthy and leads further into a lack of accountability. And at large, a society ruled by someone that holds power where everybody believes that power is deserving to be held, and they themselves as a mass lack accountability and believe that they should negate themselves in order to stay safe. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. So going back to it, and I am so transformed that I have lost my name in it for the sake of love. I, who am able to love so little, however little I can love, it is in love, for I do not love except by love. That would happen if you lost your will. So chapter 29 is named Reason Asks Love, when it is that this soul is in the pure freeness of love. So Reason starts. Now, Lady Love, says Reason, I pray you that you say what you meant when you said that this soul is in the righteous freeness of pure love, when she does nothing which might be contrary to the demand of the peace of her being within. Love responds, I will tell you what it means, says Love. It means that she would do nothing, regardless of what happens, which might be contrary to the perfect peace of her spirit. Instead, the truly innocent one does it, and the one being of which we speak is true innocence. Reason says, Love, I give you an example. Look at the infant who is purely innocent. Does he allow a thing to be done, great or small, if he is not pleased by it? Reason, without fail. Love, no, and well I can perceive it, and by this I am wise from my question. Okay. Does perception lead to wisdom? Hell no. Practice leads to wisdom. Understanding of practice leads to wisdom. Perception does not in and of itself lead to wisdom. Also, I'm really, kind of fucked up by the idea of innocence as well. And, is the example given correct? Does an infant allow anything to happen unless it wants it to, or is made happy by it? Is happiness therein the epitome of a positive goal that everybody should have? Happiness is a mere emotion, a mere moment. It is not the whole picture, and you would need the whole picture to have an objective reality, an objective truth, and that should be a logical goal of everyone. So to make happiness equivalent to innocence is kind of fucked. I guess heavily subjective to what would make you happy, but it's a chemical reaction, and in order to receive the same gratification from a chemical reaction, you keep having to up the ante on whatever is providing that chemical reaction. So I don't think it is perfectly sane to perpetually chase one emotion over the others. There's that. I lost my bookmark. Here's chapter 30, not as short. How reason speaks to love that she might satisfy the soul by saying everything that she can about God, but I thought it was best if you could not say anything. Reason starts, "Ah, Lady Love," says Reason, "I ask mercy of you in praying that you satisfy the soul by saying at least all that one can say about Him who is all in all things." Him is capitalized, so God. Also, if God is infinite, it is not gendered. It is it. It is they. Love responds, "She knows this," says Love, "for she always finds Him there, that is, in all things. Appropriately one finds something in the place where it is, and because He is everywhere, this soul finds Him everywhere. All things are fitting for her, for she does not find anything anywhere but that she finds God there. Now, Reason," says Love, "why do you wish that I satisfy the soul by saying about God all that one can say? If God is everywhere, surely you'd be able to find God in a mosque, in a Buddhist temple. Surely you'd be able to find God in a jail cell. Surely you would be able to find God amongst a trap house, in an alleyway with needles. Where two or more are gathered in my name, so there too shall I be." In the Bible. So why do we need temples? Why does anybody trust one religion over the others? If God is infinite, surely that means infinite. Reason responds, "So that," says Reason, "she can repose peacefully in her being of innocence without having to move or remove herself in order to hear you speak." Also, innocence does not mean ignorance. Just gonna lay that one out there. Love responds, "I will say it to you willingly," says Love. "I certify to you," says Love to Reason, "and I swear on myself, that everything which this soul has heard about God and all one can say about Him is at best nothing, to speak properly, compared to what He is of Himself, which never was said, is not now said, nor will be, compared to all that one ever says, all that ever was said, and all that one could allow to be said about Him. Said was said too many times." Love speaks to the soul, but yet again, Love says more to the soul in order to increase her joy and her sadness, and in order to complete all her enterprises. She should not have enterprises, for she has no will. But alrighty. "Lady Soul," says Love, "I say to you once and for all, without your desiring any more to inquire of me, because everybody's lazy and nobody wants to do anything. In this book, it would seem. For you would lose your pain that all creatures without exception who remain and will remain in the vision of the sweet face of your spouse." Who's the spouse? Which is the spouse? Is the spouse God? "Have comprehended and will comprehend less about Him, capital, compared to what He is worthy of, or what He makes understood and loved and praised, and what He Himself understands of Himself." I don't know, the last part implies, but it could just be liberal inference on my end, implies that there ought to be something therein that God could not understand of itself. Wild. Can God create a rock that God cannot lift? Yes. If God is infinite, if everything therein is a part of God but not God itself, then God could create a rock that another part of God could not lift. However, I don't think this is thinking that far ahead or that much in depth. Compared to what one might be able to say with truth, or compared to what one might understand or love or praise about anything. Soul responds, "Alas! Love," says this soul, "what will I do now? Certainly I never believed anything better than what you tell me now, but one thing, lady love, I would willingly say to you if I may." That was not a question. Love responds, "Now, sweet soul," says love, "say what would please you, for I wish to hear it." And the soul suddenly is amazed. The amazed soul responds, "Now, very sweet love," says the amazed soul, "for the sake of God, tell me why He would be so gracious to create me and ransom me, and recreate me in order to give me so little. Gracious. He who has so much to give. Amazed soul is saying this. But what is more difficult, one dare not speak of a thing which he might will to do. Truly, says this soul, I know not, but if it might be that I had something to give, I would not make for him so small a portion, I who am nothing, and he is all. Certainly, I would not be able to hold back anything from him, because I would give him everything if I had something to give. And however little I have that is worthy, I have held nothing from him, neither body nor heart nor soul, body. And he knows it well. Now I have given him everything, I who have nothing to give, which is why it seems that willingly I would give to him if I had something to give. Repetitive. Now he has taken whatever I might possess of value, and he has given nothing to me, but keeps everything. Bullshit. Ah, love, for God's sake, is this the portion of the lover? I mean, it's probably going to point out how limited a thinking process that is, correct, right? So love responds, Ah, sweet soul, says love, you know more than you are saying, and if you have given him everything, the best part has come to you. And what is more, you have not given him anything which was not his own before you gave it to him. Now look at what you do for his sake. Soul, you speak truly, sweet love, says the soul. I could not deny it even if I wanted to. What exactly did it say? Because, that's another thing about the Christian church. They speak in lofty generalities, makes it seem superior to say it. But if God is infinite, and therein God is literally everything, inclusive of the blade of grass that you stomped on, and the trash can that you threw your trash into, and the trash that you threw into the trash can. God is immaterial and material. Infinite. Then you would not need to give, nor would you need to receive. The only thing that would be a necessity is to exist and do the best you could by that existence. Because every interaction you have with anything is an interaction you are having with God. And it's kind of like that, what's attributed to Marilyn Monroe, the quote, if you cannot accept me at my least, you don't deserve me at my best. So many people are praying for heaven while they believe that they were created by God and that God created everything. So why should heaven be better than anything else if God is great? Why would you just not be grateful where you are? Alrighty. Learn to love yourself and protect your peace. Goodbye. Drink well, eat well, sleep well. Bye-bye.